The beauty of digital activism is that it's accessible to everyone, whether you're creating original content, sharing posts, or engaging in meaningful conversations. Your actions do make an impact. Welcome to Palestine Speaks. I'm Kim Abor, and this podcast is all about raising awareness, sharing breaking news, and shining a light on stories that often don't get heard. Here we dive into real conversations with aid workers, activists, and people on the front lines to bring you the truth about Palestine and the bigger picture all around it. So why does this matter? Because Palestine's story is more than just about headlines. It's about people, resilience, and justice. So if you're ready to learn, connect, and make a difference, you're in the right place. Let's get right into it. Let's start with how social media has become a powerful tool for activism. A few decades ago, if you wanted to spread awareness or organize a movement, you needed significant resources, money, connections, and access to traditional media. But today, all you really need is a phone and internet access. Social media platforms have become virtual megaphones for truth tellers and change makers. People like Basan and Motaz are incredible examples of how individuals can use these platforms to tell stories that mainstream media often ignores. Let's start with Basan. Her posts go beyond everyday news updates. They capture the raw emotions of life under occupation. Her ability to blend personal experiences with on-the-ground relationships makes her account a must-follow for anyone wanting to understand Palestine's story. She uses her platform to connect with a global audience, raising awareness through authentic, heartfelt content that humanizes the struggle. Then there's Motaz. If you follow him on Instagram, you'll know that his work is nothing short of extraordinary. He was on the ground in Gaza capturing heartbreaking realities of life under siege. His videos and photos document everything. That includes children playing amidst rubble, families struggling to survive, and moments of hope in the face of unimaginable hardship. What makes this content so impactful is its authenticity. Motaz doesn't just report, he invites you into his world, making it impossible for you to look away. People like Basan and Motaz are living proof of how digital activism can amplify the voices that the world needs to hear. They don't just share information, they create movements. Their content inspires millions, educates the uninformed, and challenges the biased narratives that dominate mainstream media. This is the power of social media. It gives individuals tools to make global impacts. And the best part, you don't have to be a journalist or a celebrity to join in this movement. Every like, share, and comment helps to amplify these voices and bring attention to the stories that matter. So let's dive into a challenge that we all face when we're using social media for activism: misinformation. We've seen how biased narratives dominate mainstream media, often shaping public's opinion in ways that perpetuate injustice. Unfortunately, social media, despite being a platform for truth-telling, isn't immune to this problem. From fake videos and doctored images to twisted stories and outright lies, misinformation spreads quickly, making it hard for people to separate fact from fiction. You don't just have to be a passive observer in this fight. You can actively combat misinformation and make a difference, starting with one golden rule: always fact-check before you share. So let me give you an example. Suppose you come across a shocking photo or a video. It's easy to hit share in the heat of the moment, but taking a few moments to verify the content can save you from unintentionally spreading falsehoods. Tools like reverse image search are fantastic for confirming whether a photo is real or if it has been misused. Platforms like Snoops or specialized fact-checking sites are also invaluable resources to verify claims. Another crucial step is following and sharing content from credible sources. If you're just getting started, you could always rely on sources like Motaz and Basan. They're on Instagram. You could also check out Telegram. There are tons of channels for all the different places in the Middle East that have some type of fighting going on. And you can also use some news sources, but use your best judgment, because news sources can be a place of misinformation as well. I prefer Middle East Eye, sometimes Al Jazeera, just depends on what I'm informing the public on. Don't forget about the independent journalists who are on the ground in Gaza, and that is why I like to get that information from Telegram directly. People on the ground often provide nuanced insights and a level of truth that larger social media outlets tend to ignore or misrepresent. But fighting misinformation goes beyond just debunking lies. It's about reframing the narrative. Too often, the story gets distorted. Palestinian resistance is painted as aggression, while the daily oppression they endure is brushed aside. As activists, it's our responsibility to reframe these stories. How do we do that? By grounding them in universal values of justice, freedom, and human rights. When we focus on these shared principles, we're not just educating, we're fostering empathy and connection. It's a powerful way to cut through misinformation and remind people of the humanity at the heart of these issues. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about something every digital activist will face at some point: backlash. Putting yourself out there as an advocate for Palestine or any cause can be very intimidating. Trolls, harassment, and even algorithm suppression, commonly known as shadow banning, can make the work feel like an uphill battle. But you're not alone, and there are ways to handle these challenges. First, let's talk about trolls. If you've ever had someone flood your comments with inflammatory remarks or derail your whole post, you know how frustrating it can be. My advice: don't waste your energy. Trolls thrive on provoking arguments. Instead, focus on engaging with people who are genuinely curious or open to learning. And don't hesitate to block or mute accounts that cross the line. Your mental health is more important than anyone trying to change the mind of someone who isn't listening. Next, let's address shadow banning. If you've ever felt like your posts aren't reaching as many people as they should, you're not imagining these things. Platforms sometimes suppress content, especially when it's tied to activism or politically sensitive topics. What can you do? Start by diversifying your strategies. Use a mix of hashtags and keywords instead of relying on the same ones every single time. For instance, instead of always using #FreePalestine, mix it up with variations like Justice for All, or you could even use some symbolic symbols like the Palestinian flag or other emoji. Diversify your platforms as well. If TikTok isn't working for you, you could always try another platform like RedNote. You are your own boss, and you can choose any platform that you want to spread information on. And each one of these platforms has its unique audiences, and spreading your message across multiple channels increases your reach. I remember a few months ago, I went to a protest up in Chicago, and I was kind of mentioning to a friend of mine how tired I was and how this is so mentally draining. And I was specifically talking about seeing all the images coming out of Gaza, especially the ones where you would see unalived people in various forms being shared across Telegram channels. And because I'm not there and I cannot help, my job was to watch every single video that came out. She reminded me that it's okay to take breaks. If your mental health is not in check, there is no way that you're going to be able to continue to help other people. And that really stuck with me. So I kind of put myself on more of a schedule when I'm watching very graphic content, and that has really helped me stay focused during the time when we were really seeing some horrible images. The beauty of digital activism is that it's accessible to everyone, whether you're creating original content, sharing posts, or engaging in meaningful conversations. Your actions do make an impact. Remember, every share, every comment, and every like is a small act of resistance. So what's the key takeaway here? Social media can really be a game changer for activism. It gives us the power to amplify voices, spread truth, and connect with people across the globe in ways that were unimaginable just a few decades ago. But to use this tool effectively, we need to be strategic. That means fact-checking everything before sharing, promoting credible sources, reframing biased narratives, and caring for ourselves as we navigate through this journey. That wraps up today's episode of Palestine Speaks. I hope this conversation has inspired you to take activism online, or if you're already doing that, to level it up with some new strategies. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and follow my page. You could always leave a review down below and share it with your friends. Your support not only helps this podcast grow, but it also amplifies the voices of those fighting for your justice. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, stay informed, stay active, and stay connected. And as always, free Palestine.